Most of you aren't subscribed. Make sure to subscribe, as it helps out the channel. Without further ado, heading to school, Kane attends his magic class, where the instructor tells everyone that they'll be covering summoning magic. Believing that he will be excluded from the class, due to his highest mastery of magic, Kane walks off to stand alone, but is happy to hear that the instructors are okay with Kane performing summoning magic. Having brought a guest, Grat introduces himself as a palace mage, starting off by explaining two forms of summoning magic. The first is when a contract is formed with a pre-existing monster, and the second is the use of a ritual circle to summon a monster only to then form a contract with it. For today, Grat states that he'll be testing the students, challenging them to summon and form a contract with their summon, but warns them that the summon will disappear if the students aren't compatible with the summon. With the help of ritual paper, several students manage to summon low-tier monsters, easily forming contracts with them. But observing a different student, he manages to summon a huge monster, but fails to form a contract with it, prompting the summon to disappear. Complementing the student's potential, Grat advises that the student increase his mana pool, that way his summons are more likely to form a contract with him. Finally, it's Kane's turn, placing his ritual paper onto the floor, worried that he'll summon a colossal monster. But Grat reassures Kane that the worst thing that can happen is that the monster will reject Kane's contract and disappear. Excited, Kane begins pumping mana into the magic circle, but Grat suddenly orders Kane to stop, right as the ritual circle begins to overflow. Appearing as the summoner, a demon with the title, the Prince of Darkness appears, demanding to know why he's been summoned. Casting a light spell to stop others from seeing what the Prince of Darkness looks like, Kane wonders if this demon is working for Eren, but is caught off guard when the demon scans his stats. Seeing the demon approach him, Kane prepares to slaughter the demon with his blade, but spots the demon kneeling before him. Apologizing for being so rude, the demon happily offers to form a contract with Kane, offering to help Kane take over the entire kingdom along with giving Kane his demon army. When Kane asks to know who the demon is, the demon apologizes for the late introduction, introducing himself as Seth. Wanting Seth to not cause any more of a scene, Kane states he'll form a contract with Seth, sending him away. As Kane's light magic ceases, Kane explains to everyone that he wasn't able to contract with the demon, but several hours later, Kane is brought before the king. Having heard from Grat, the king demands to know what Kane summoned today, getting Kane to spit out that he summoned no ordinary demon, but the Prince of Darkness himself. Terrified at Kane's abilities, the king scolds Kane for being reckless, as the demon of that caliber could have easily rampaged across the kingdom and caused hundreds of casualties. Apologizing for his actions, Kane explains that once he started pumping mana into the ritual circle, his mana naturally overflowed, surprising Grat, who wonders how much mana Kane truly has, if the paper ritual circle couldn't withstand all of his mana. Seeing as this secret can't be kept from Grat, the king gets Grat to promise to keep Kane's power a secret, ordering Kane to reveal his new stats, since training with the first king. Upon opening his status window, everyone is stunned to see that Kane has acquired the title demigod, both Magna and Eric wondering if they should address Kane as a god. When Kane asks that they don't change, the king interrupts asking Kane to promise and not destroy his kingdom. With Kane reassuring everyone that he has no intentions of ruling a kingdom, the king admits that it only makes sense that Kane inherits the kingdom from him when Kane's older, but first the king states that he'll promote Kane to a viscount. As a viscount, Kane will be in charge of a town, where the king expects to see Kane learn how to govern. Only when Kane can manage a town will the king truly consider giving his kingdom over to Kane. Heading back to his mansion, Kane tells Sylvia about his promotion, but before Sylvia can celebrate, Kane is told to return to his father's home, as there have been sightings of a huge amount of monsters gathered. Returning home, Kane greets his older brother Jin, who teases Kane for growing so popular recently. Getting down to business, Jin states that he had heard from several highly ranked adventurers that had adventures into the monster forest, learning that a large gathering of monsters, just like the incident a few decades ago, is happening. Wondering if it truly is as bad as his brother says it is, Kane asks for permission to check out the monster forest himself, but when Jin fears Kane would simply be torn to shreds, Kane reveals his new rank as an adventurer. Now realizing that his little brother is far more capable than he thought, Jin allows Kane to check out the forest himself, But first Kane states he'll visit the guild to gather more information about the forest and creatures that reside in it. Heading to the nearby guild, Kane greets the receptionist, asking for information on the monster forest, but spots Millie and Nina arrive, learning that they both have also been summoned. Fearing that the girls won't be able to last too long on their own, Kane is relieved to hear that they'll be grouping up with Claude and Lena. Seeing as this is the perfect time, Kane begins searching through the forest alone, summoning Jin and Haku to speed up the search. Running through the forest, Kane senses someone watching him, nonchalantly slaying nearby monsters, but no matter how many he slays, the feeling of being watched doesn't disappear. Wondering if Seth can help, Kane summons Seth, asking for Seth to scope out the forest himself, but Seth warns Kane that there is quite a potent being residing in the forest, and is causing all the monsters to gather near it. Wondering if Seth can track down the being alone, Seth summons one of his subordinates, Dalmatia. Upon spotting Kane, Dalmatia immediately bows before Kane, making Kane embarrassed, only to learn that Dalmatia is one of Seth's 4 heavenly kings, who specializes in tracking. With Dalmatia calling for his creepy crawlies to begin searching underground, Kane spots several monsters nearby, immediately leaping into the air and slaying the monsters, all whilst Dalmatia and Seth watch on in awe. With various monster corpses, Kane tells Seth to update him on any findings, as he'll head back to the guild to drop off all the loot. Upon returning to the guild, Kane greets Claude and Lena, who have finally arrived, but are amazed to hear that Kane was able to slay various S-rank monsters alone. But Kane warns everyone to strengthen their defenses, as even stronger monsters reside in the monster forest. Back with Dalmatia and Seth, they both have found the root of the cause, both heading in the general direction, but at the same time, Aaron senses Seth and Dalmatia approaching his hideout, releasing all the monsters that he's gathered upon nearby cities. Knowing that he must warn Kane, Seth teleports to Kane's location, right as the town bell signals for everyone to brace for a monster attack. Kane asks the receptionist to inform his brother that the monster onslaught has begun and that the remaining adventurers should prepare for battle, asking Seth to follow him, as he'll head to the monster forest first. Just then Tijuana appears, having been ordered to assist Kane with the monsters gathering in the forest. As Kane tells Tijuana about everything that has transpired, Tijuana can't help but fall more in love with how assertive Kane is, more than happy to help Kane defend the town whilst he's gone. Immediately running alongside Seth to the forest, Kane manages to meet up with Dalmatia, who has already begun slaughtering the hundreds of monsters attempting to leave the forest, but right then we cut to Aaron, who seems to be begging for Kane to appear before him. Check out one of our other videos on the screen or in the info card above. Subscribe, like and comment.